When we first planted these fruit trees back in 2020, I thought in 5 years' time I would be frolicking around picking buckets of peaches and nectarines off the trees. Well, it's a little bit like that. Instead, we're at war with the fruit fly. Today, I'm going to show you how we manage fruit flies in our permaculture orchard using 4 natural but effective methods, and also one method that we haven't tried yet. And at the end of the video, I'm going to juggle peaches. In order to defeat the enemy, we must first understand the enemy. Fruit flies are one of the world's most destructive pests, and I do not mean the tiny little bugs that are in your fruit bowl that are really small. I'm talking about the Queensland fruit fly, which are quite a bit larger. They kind of look like a small wasp, and they are incredibly destructive. They attack everything from your stone fruit to your tomatoes and capsicums, and they are the bane of backyard gardeners everywhere. So why are they such a problem? So for that, we need to understand a little bit about the life cycle of a fruit fly. So unfortunately, the females have to lay their eggs directly into the fruit that we want to eat. So she stings the fruit, lays the eggs, and within a day, the eggs have turned into maggots. And then what do the maggots eat? The maggots eat the fruit, and the fruit then starts to rot. At that point, I no longer want to eat the fruit for obvious reasons. At that point, after the maggots have had their fill and made like half of your fruit rotten, they fall out, fall on the ground, and then pupate into adults, which is where they then fly off and begin the whole growth cycle again. A single adult female fruit fly can lay up to 500 eggs in her lifetime, and each egg only takes a week to turn into an adult. So you can understand why, if you let it get out of control, you've got a big problem in your hands. And trust me, we know because we let it happen one year. It was bad. So without further ado, let me show you the methods. Method number 1 is traps, and we use 2 different types of traps here. So this one is just for the male's fruit fly. It's got a wick at the top here. You can buy refills for these at Bunnings. Attracts and then kills the fruit flies, and it's a pretty good way of seeing like how many you've got in your area. Because it just attracts the males, so it's a good sort of gauge of the population. And there's a little bit of liquid in the bottom of this one, so I can see there's quite a few been drowning in there recently, but I also haven't emptied this in a while. If you really want to keep up with the amounts of them, you should be emptying it regularly every week, so you know that your methods are working. The second type of trap we use is a protein liquid trap. Now you can buy these ready-made at the store, but we have a few fruit trees, so I just made my own and bought the liquid. It's Sarah liquid. You can buy it online in bulk, which I find is much cheaper to do. You can also make a DIY liquid, but I haven't experimented with that as I just wanted to get something I knew would work. But basically the idea is, you can see I've just used an old milk bottle, but I've made some holes in it here and put the liquid down here. The idea being that the females and the males, this attracts both of them, are attracted to the smell of the liquid because they think it's a good place to lay their eggs. So basically to them it smells like a fruit, I guess. They go in there through these little holes, discover it's not in fact a fruit, and they drown in the liquid and are trapped, can't get out through the tiny holes. Very important to not put the holes right at the top because that's where they try and fly to get out. So if you had to pick one type of these 2 traps to get, I would recommend just getting the liquid trap because it does get the females, whereas the other type doesn't get the females at all, it just attracts the males. So this one will actually interrupt the breeding cycle, which is what we want, because you remember how many eggs a day they lay? Yeah, that's right. So these, I've got one on every tree, at least one on every tree, and you want to put them sort of about in the middle of the tree underneath the shady areas. So in the shade, because that's where the fruit flies like to go. They like to go in the little shady spots. So I'm gonna hang this back up in there. With both types of traps, it's really good to get them out early in the season. So last year, I waited until the fruit was set and had already started to grow in size, and by the time I put the traps out, it was way too late to start interrupting the breeding cycle. They were already well established. This year, as soon as the flowers had set and I could see the tiny little buds of set fruit, they weren't even big enough to be called fruit yet, they were just little like nubbins. I had the traps out. They were there and they started working because fruit fly do actually have the ability to overwinter in the ground. They're mainly active in summer, but they can stay alive in the ground over winter. So you never know how many are around, and if you've had a bad year the previous year, it's good to get on them early. Method number 2 is topical sprays. This is not labeled correctly. Please ignore the bottle it's in. It's a recycled bottle. It It's definitely not what it is. We just know that it's the fruit fly one. So this is a organic certified fruit fly control thing. It's a protein and sugar based bait. So similar to the liquid based traps, but this is a more direct topical application. So basically we just come around and we spray it onto the trunks and the lower areas of the tree. And what this does is the fruit fly are attracted to it for the same reason, because it smells tasty and like a protein. When they land on it, they don't like it basically, and it kills them. This is one that we've reintroduced this year. We didn't do it last year, and it does help. So yes, it is in some ways a poison, but it's an organic certified one. So we're just doing what we can to actually get to eat some of our fruit. Moving on. Oh, chook. Method number 3 is of course the cleanup crew. Chickens. Very important part of a permaculture orchard. Remember how I said that the larvae fall out of the fruit and go to the ground to pupate? That's where the chickens come in. They scratch through the dirt and any fallen fruit to find any of those tasty larvae and eat them, thus disrupting that stage of the breeding cycle. They are very important for soil health and also keeping down the fruit fly numbers. Hey, we love our chickens. They're very helpful. Aren't you? Good girl. She says, please put me down. I don't want to be in the video. I haven't signed a consent form. Go on, go eat some fruit fly. Flightless birds, am I right? That brings us to method number 4, the daily grind. Damaged fruit is a prime target for fruit flies. So pretty much every day, someone has to come out here and inspect all of the fruit in case of damage. Maybe a bird got into the enclosure, or the fruit has split because of inconsistent watering, which often happens, or you're looking for the telltale signs of a fruit fly sting. So we collect or pick any suspect fruit, and if it's beyond saving, you can't even eat any of it, then we chuck it in this big bucket of water here, which sits in the sun. Now, I've seen reports of fruit flies surviving in water for up to 3 days. So we leave these closed for like the entire season, and the water heats up. It gets real gross in there. It's absolutely disgusting. I hold my breath when I put them in there and everything. It's rank. We don't leave any fruit fallen on the ground because that just makes for even more breeding grounds for the fruit flies. So this daily check-in keeps us active in observing and interacting with what's going on in our orchard ecosystem. It's also really important to make sure you don't put any infected fruit into your normal compost bins. Any fruit that comes off those trees, we don't take any chances because you can't always see the eggs if they're in there. So we just make sure we have smaller buckets of water outside our kitchens, and then we fill all of those up and collect them as the season goes on. Good use for recycled containers. Over time, we should slowly decrease the numbers of them and get it to a manageable level so that we are getting a good amount of fruit. And in fact, we have gotten a good amount of fruit this year. Sometimes when we're in the middle of doing all this work, we wonder if it's worth growing our own fruit, but then you take a bite of a fresh peach off a tree and it definitely is worth it. Oh, and the 5th method that's a bonus that we don't actually do yet is individually bagging the fruit with tiny nets, but it doesn't seem worth it for us because we have so many fruit trees that it would be a lot of effort to bag each fruit individually. So we're trying all these other methods first before we resort to doing that. I'm gonna try and do it all in one. Ready? So there you have it, our 4-step system to how we manage fruit flies. It's not about eradicating them completely, it's about managing the numbers and keeping them under control so that we still get some fruit and our hard work doesn't go to waste. If you've got any fun stories or horror stories about fruit fly management and control, please drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to follow along on my permaculture journey and to see me juggle more random fruits and vegetables. I post videos every second Tuesday. Follow along for more. This has taken me 5 tries. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.